Girls, you know how we've been reading Ain't I a Woman by Sojourner Truth?
Yes.
Well, today we're going to learn how to analyze a text, and we're going to analyze a speech. So we're going to learn how to look at something, look at it closely, look at the parts, and decide what we think the deeper meaning inside of this speech is. Okay? Let's look at our learning objectives on the board. We have 3, but we have one main learning objective. One is I can identify elements of the author's craft that aid in communicating the author's message. That means I can look for ways that the author is helping to make sure that we understand what she's saying. The second one is I can evaluate the effectiveness of an argument in a speech. So when Sojourner is writing this is sort of an argument, right?
Yes.
She's making an argument for something, and we want to see if she's effective in creating her argument. The last thing is I can analyze the true meaning of figurative language. And that's our focus objective. I can analyze the true meaning of figurative language. We're going to learn how to analyze and interpret. 2 words. Analyze, interpret. All right, we'll learn how to do that today, and we'll apply it directly to this speech. Go ahead and write those two words down in your reading notebook for today. We're going to write down analyze and interpret, and I'll write them down here. Analyze, interpret. All right, so we have analyze and interpret written down, okay? That word analyze, it means to examine closely or to look at something and think about something really closely, then explain and interpret the parts of something. This word interpret means to explain what something means in a different way. And Dr. McClain is going to help us with this term of interpreting that we're going to use when we analyze different parts of this text.
This is like interpret like synonyms.
You mean like is interpret and analyze sort of synonyms?
Yeah.
They're very close, yeah. But the difference is when you analyze something, you're not like explaining like what it means in a different way. You're not like creating meaning for it. When you analyze something, you're just looking at it really closely, okay? And you start noticing the different parts of it. When you interpret, you're changing the meaning, like you're changing over the meaning, and you're like thinking about what does this really mean. So it's like you do them together, but they're different parts of the same like process. It will make more sense as we get more into it, and I'll continue to like make it make more sense. Okay? So she's going to explain to us what interpret means.
Hi, boys and girls. This is Dr. McClain, and I'm just here to teach you a little bit about some of our academic vocabulary for today. Well, remember, we have a word called interpret. Now, interpret means to just explain what something means in a different way. So, for instance, if somebody speaks one language and the other person speaks another language, if you interpret something, all you do is you explain what the person means. So you help this person speaking this language to communicate with the person speaking this language. So let's say this person is speaking French. Parlez-vous français? Parlez-vous français? And then the person over here speaks Spanish. Okay? Okay? Well, the person here in the middle can interpret what the French person says to the Spanish-speaking person and explain what it means in a different way. Well, voulez-vous français means something else. Okay, I don't know enough Spanish to go ahead and interpret that, but you'll get the picture. So if you're interpreting a piece of text, what you're doing is you're making meaning out of it. You are saying what the text means. Okay? So if we're reading the Ain't I a Woman speech, and you look at a quote, you're looking closely reading, you're looking at the quote, and you interpret what it means, you say, well, I think what she means when she says that, she means this, and this.
Okay. So, did Dr. McClain kind of help you to see what you'll be sort of doing?
Yes.
Did anybody like Dr. McClain telling you what you're going to be doing?
Yes.
Okay, so now what we'll do is I'm going to read aloud the Ain't I a Woman speech, and then we'll do some breakoffs into some small groups to help us understand it, and we'll do some collaborative conversations. Sound good?
Yes.
All right. So everybody has their Ain't I a Woman speech out. Go ahead and take it out. Remember, who is reading this? Sojourner Truth. She's speaking it, right?
Yes.
And Sojourner Truth is at the Women's Rights Convention, right? Yes. And Sojourner Truth is from the country, so a lot of what she's saying sounds country. So that's why some of the language looks like this. So if you hear me do it like with my country accent, it'll make a lot more sense. Okay, so here's Sojourner Truth's Ain't I a Woman. Well, children, where there's so much racket, there must be something mighty guilty. I think that twixt the Negroes of the South and the women of the North all talking about rights, the white men will be in a fix pretty soon. But what's all this here talking about? Well, that man over there, he says that women need to be helped into carriages and lifted over ditches and to have the best place everywhere. Nobody helps me into carriages or over mud puddles or gives me any of the best place. And ain't I a woman? Look at me. Look at my arm. I could have plowed and planted and gathered into barns, and no man could help me. And ain't I a woman? I could work as much and eat as much as a man when I could get it, and bear the lash as well. And ain't I a woman? I have borne 13 children and seen most all of them sold off into slavery. And when I cried out with my mother's grief, none but Jesus heard me. And ain't I a woman? Then they talk about this thing in the head, what's this they call it?
Intellect.
Intellect. That's it, honey. What's that got to do with women's rights and Negroes' rights? If my cup won't hold but a pint, and yours holds a quote, wouldn't you be mean not to let me have my little half measure full? Then, that little man back in the black there, he says women can't have as much rights as a man because Christ wasn't a woman. Where'd your Christ come from? Where'd your Christ come from? From God and a woman. Man didn't have nothing to do with it. Then, if the first woman God ever made was strong enough to turn the world upside down all alone, these women together ought to be able to turn it back and get it right upside up again. And now they is asking to do it. The men better let them. Obliged to you for hearing me, and now Sojourner ain't got nothing more to say. And that's it. And so, now, do you see how I'm reading it and I sound really country?
Yes.
But can you tell with the intonation in my voice now what she's sort of saying?
Yes.
Does it make a little bit more sense?
Yes.
Okay. What we're going to do now is break this down. We're going to start talking about, who is she talking about? Why does she think there needs to be something changed and all of that, okay? So now I'm going to start pulling people into some groups. But before we do that, I want everybody to get one of these little handouts. Okay, turn back to me in 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. What do you think this part means? I think that twixt the Negroes of the South and the women of the North all talking about rights, the white men will be in a fix pretty soon. What y'all talking about? Keon?
Since they said the Negroes of the South and the women of the North, like they were all teaming up, like coming together to face the white man, and the white man's not gonna get his way.
And I think it's like if they all mix up and then they gonna be out of power and they gonna fight their way through the rights for their rights.
That is what you like to share. Well, our group talked about is that, well, what she's trying to say is she's trying to talk about rights and that the white man will be fixed like pretty soon. That's what it says in the article. And what our group talked about is that she's trying to talk about rights and bads, like what she since she's trying to say what we think is that she's trying to say like in a tough way that the white man will be fixed pretty soon and that everything that they should do more rights in slavery.
Yes, I would like to hear. So I will add on with Kia and Lamaya and Nana. So our group talked about like is like some people get to go to the south and all the women have to go to the north. It's not fair because it's like it's the rights they have to fight for. And then she's talking about he'll be fixed, like some of the white men will be fixed pretty soon. Like she said, like some people, like the men get to get whatever they want, but the woman is like they can't get what the rights they get to get.
Okay, good. I like what you said about you were talking about the men having all of their rights and then the women wanting those rights, right?
Yeah.
But you did say something about the women having to go to the north and the men going to the south or something like that. No, that's not what's happening. Like the women are all over, the men are all over. But what she said in the text, if you look right here, she said that twixt the Negroes of the South and the women of the North, all talking about rights. She's talking about the women who are in the North. There are women in the South too, okay? But the women in the North are talking about rights, having their rights. And there are, and then in the South, the Negroes of the are also talking about rights, okay? So there are other people in the South besides Negroes. There are women, there are white women. There are Negroes in the North too, but the two particular people that she clearly says here are the Negroes of the
South
and the women of the North. Okay, I just want to clear that up. Okay, so you know how we modeled just a little bit ago?
Yeah.
What we thought she meant when she says this? Like,
Yes.
let's now talk about what we think she means when she says, I think that twixt the Negroes of the South and the women of the North all talking about rights, the white man will be in a fix pretty soon. But what's all this here talking about? So what does she mean, twixt the Negroes of the South and the women of the North all talking about rights? Who is she saying is doing all of the talking? I'm moving to this question here. Who is doing all of the talking? You all talk about that. Who is doing all the talking here?
and I think she's getting kind of evidence of what she
Look out, she said
so another thing is that she's the Sojourner Truth is the one that's talking in the whole video.
so who like the other person said?
She's the one that's talking in the whole video. So when
Turn back to me in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Who's doing all of the talking? Who is she saying is doing all the talking? Wayne? She's talking. So would she be doing her own talking? She said between the Negroes of the South and the women of the North all talking about rights. Who is she saying that is doing all the talking? Reggie? So the Negroes and who else? Call someone, Reggie.
Danger. It's herself because it's like what she's making. It's herself.
If she's saying that these people are talking about it, could that be who we would be referring to, herself? She's the one talking already. She says that between the Negroes of the South and the women of the North all talking about rights. Is she talking about herself in this instance?
No, she's talking about like rights and like the South and wait.
Who is she saying is doing the talking? Between the Negroes of the South and the women of the North, all talking about rights. Who is doing the talking? Who is she saying that is doing the talking? Keontia.
The women and the Negroes.
Thank you. The women of the South and the Negroes, the women of the North and the Negroes of the
South.
She says it here, doesn't she?
Yes.
Okay, so to answer this question, who is she saying is doing all the talking? We know that it is, my interpretation is she is saying that the women of the North and the Negroes of the South are doing the talking. Now, do you see that's my interpretation? I made sense of what the text said. Now, I know that she's saying that it's the women of the North and the Negroes of the South doing the
Talking.
Next question. What are they talking about? Kwali. Rights. Excellent. They are talking about getting rights. Do they want just any rights, or do they want to have women's rights? And what about Negroes? Negroes, they want equal rights, right? That would be included in the rights, correct? Good, Philip. They are talking about getting rights.
Miss Stevens, the story that I'm still on is the what she said at the end. They go flip the world right side up.
When she started talking about like the that end part, if that one woman could turn the whole world upside down, then all these women could turn the right side up again. You had some questions about that. You want to look deeply into that? We'll look deeply into that until we analyze. We're gonna get straight to here, but we're gonna come to that because that's excellent what you pointed out. Now, do you see how I model this? How we can answer that question by looking deeply at the text and in. What's our word for the day? Interpreting. Our word for the day is interpreting. Do you want me to model one more?
Yes.
All right. So look at this question. What does she mean about the white man will be in a fix pretty soon? I think that between the Negroes of the South and the women of the North all talking about rights, the white man will be in a fix pretty soon. What does that mean, be in a fix pretty soon, Brianna?
They would put equal rights to everyone.
So would be in a fix means, well, is that what being a fix means though? I'm talking specifically about the white man will be in a fix. What does that mean? Not what will happen in the larger society. What does that specific part that says the white men will be in a fix pretty soon, what does that mean?
Agreeing to all the rights about the Negroes and the women's about the rights, like agreeing to the rights that the women want from the North and the Negroes want from the South.
Okay. Did you have something you want to say about that, Dariana? I saw your hand kind of go up.
I think that what Brianna was trying to say, that the white man was gonna just like, he's gonna kind of just like
He's gonna fix his.
He's probably like a white man's gonna probably just make everything go wrong or something.
Okay, what were you saying, Chloe?
They're trying to help them change.
Okay, I'm gonna model this and model my thinking. The white man will be in a fix pretty soon. I'm thinking that means well, if the Negroes are talking about rights and the white women are talking about rights, these are all groups that the white men are not a part of. The white men aren't Negroes, are they?
No.
The white men aren't women, are they?
No.
So I'm thinking that the white men are thinking, okay, well, if the groups of Negroes are talking about rights, now even our own women are talking about rights. Uh-oh. When she says, the white man will be in a fix pretty soon, I think that means he'll be in trouble pretty soon. Like, wait a minute, all these people around me are talking about rights, and I'm the only one with the rights. If they're all talking about getting the rights, I think I'll be in trouble if I was a white man, right? Like, uh-oh, I guess I'm going to have to give these people their rights. So my interpretation of this is, she means that the white men will be in trouble pretty soon and will need to start giving other groups, women and Negroes, put that in parentheses, their rights. Now, do you see the way I interpreted this? I made my own meaning out of the text. Does that make a little bit more sense now, Mauricio, as far as what interpret means? All right. Do we think that we have had enough modeling of how to interpret what is said to what I think it means in my own brain? Do we think that we could do this as a group now?
Yes.
Okay, let's do it as a group before you do it on your own. Do you see this part right here that says, Sojourner says, that man over there says that women need to be helped into carriages and lifted over ditches and to have the best place everywhere. Nobody helps me in the carriages or over mud puddles or gives me the best place. And ain't I a woman? What does she mean by this, okay? So I want you all, can we work in a group? We're going to have a discussion about what she means by this part. Remember to keep talking about this specific part. Don't start talking about a different part in the speech. Okay, Deja? Make sure we stay to this specific part. That man over there says that women need to be helped in the carriages and lifted over ditches and have the best place everywhere, but nobody helps me in the carriages or lifts me over ditches or gives me the best place, and ain't I a woman? What does she mean by that? I want us to talk about what she means by that, okay? So let's interpret that. All right, go ahead. And you need to all write your answers down on your graphic organizers that you come up with as a group. Okay, so what do you think she means about that man over there says that the women need to be helped in the carriages and lifted over ditches. Now the best place everywhere. Nobody helps me in the carriages or over mud puddles or give me the best place. And ain't I a woman? What do you think she means?
I think she means that she wants the same respect that other women get, because when she said, I don't get treated like that, I don't get carried over mud puddles, I don't get the best place ever, and I don't get to get in the carriage. She wants the same respect that other women are getting, because if you are helping one, then you should help all.
Y'all hear what he's doing? Any thoughts on that?
Okay, so first you go and I'm gonna it's like what Philip just said. It's like all women need treated white, not only once. Like in the whole world, like a lot of. It's like a lot of girls in this world. That don't mean just help one.
So that's kind of being racist. If you are helping another that is your kind, that's kind of being racist.
Okay, so you're saying that what she's saying here is that all women need to be treated the same, not just one type of woman. I'm going to write that down a little bit. All women need to be treated right, not just one group of women. This is what you all said. My next question is, why do you think that she points this out? She says, because she's saying that the man is talking about white women need to be helped over ditches, right? And then she's saying, so, okay, well, that man said that women need to be helped over ditches and given the best place, and if they're helped over ditches and they're helped into carriages, you're saying that the women need what?
They need people to help them.
To help them?
They need people to help them with a lot of stuff.
Okay, they need people to help them with a lot of stuff, right? And do you think, since they need so much help, do you think that that might be one of the reasons that the white men were saying why the women don't need equal rights? Because they need so much help with stuff?
What happened if the white people need lots of help, like building a plane, but they need more people, and y'all got all the people all the white people while they're in the country, and the black people at somewhat.
If it was the other way around, but if it was the other way around, and the man needed help, want the women help the man, like, it's not all people that is racist in the world.
Yeah, some police officers are racist.
Okay, but let's get back to what she's saying here. Okay? I think we got a little on a tangent, off topic. Okay, think about it. You just told me that she said, let's keep this line of reasoning, that she said that the white men were saying that the white women need to be helped a lot, right? And that's why they didn't deserve equal rights. But then she, in the same breath, says that she has to do what? Right here, but look at what she's saying. Let's look back at the quote. Okay, the man says that women need to be helped over carriages and over ditches and have the best place everywhere, but nobody helps me into carriages or over mud puddles.
Because she black. It don't mean nothing.
So wait a minute. She pointed out that the white men were saying that the white women couldn't have equal rights because they needed a lot of, let's write that down. The white men said white women couldn't have equal rights because they needed a lot of help. They needed about too much help. Too much help with things, okay? So that's their argument, right? The white men think that, okay, well, women need too much help, so that's why they don't deserve the rights. But then in the same breath, she says, nobody helps me into carriages or over mud puddles or gives me any of the best place. And ain't I a woman? So what is she? Why do you think she points that out?
Because she a woman, and then they putting another woman in a carriage.
So they put the white women in the carriage, but no one helps her in carriages and gets her in the best place.
What happened?
So why do you think no one is helping her in the carriages?
Because she's black.
Because she's black. So why do you think she points this out? That hey, ain't I a woman, but nobody helps me in the carriages?
But why does skin color matter?
I mean, that's a different question, right? This question here is talking about, why do you think she pointed this out? Why do you think she pointed out, well, you say that women can't have rights because they need too much help with anything, with things, right? But I don't get help with anything.
Only the white people.
Yeah, and ain't I a woman? Why do you think she points that out?
Because
So why do you think she points this out?
I think she pointed out because the other women get help, but she can't get help like the other women.
But what?
I think that she said ain't I'm a woman because the other women get help, but she don't. But if she needed help, she can't get help because they don't get help. And she had 13 kids, but some of them was taken away. Wait.
Okay, so wait a minute. Let's go back to what Kwali said. Because Kwali was saying that she pointed this out because the women weren't, because she wasn't getting the same type of help as the white women, right? But was she able to still do things?
Yes.
So does that make sense that the women can't have equal rights because they need too much help?
That don't make much sense.
Think about it. If she's a woman and she's doing all this stuff with no help, then does that really make sense that, oh, we can't give them rights because they can't do anything? Does that make sense? All right, so we all have something written down now about why does Truth keep repeating "ain't I a woman" throughout this speech, okay? Now that you've written down your idea, you're going to talk with your group about what they had to say. And then after your group has spoken, you'll write down in the next box what your new idea is of why she keeps repeating that after you talk to everybody else, okay?
I think she's repeating, and I'm a woman because she wants people to know she is a woman, and she's not being treated like a woman. I think like she's white men don't treat them right. So we pretty much all have the same idea. But I think that she does she does things like the men do, like not helping her, like the other people.
So they all want to because she'd have to pick the thing she thinks she's going to do. She can repeat that anyway.
Why do she keep saying I'm a woman? I think she ain't trying to tell I do stuff like a man, but I'm a woman.
They could do the woman from North of like she didn't make know how to get
She even played working
kind of like she's a woman. She should have equal rights as a man.
Everything like a man, but it's just like she's trying to say it's like she's trying to like she need like more help, so she's trying to like fix like the woman's rights, and she's trying to stick up for the woman. That's
if she's a woman and she's trying to carry on stuff like that, she should have the same rights as a man. And
You but
because she is like as a man, so a man and like a woman should carry the carriage, and like the woman and the man should like help. They don't need like the slave owners to like do something to them. Yeah, like the slave owners, they should help too.
sometimes some women don't mean
Yeah, she could eat as much as a woman and like carry the carriages like a man. But isn't that she a woman?
It's like she's trying to have the same like as a man.
yeah, and she's trying to get beaten like a man. And
She's trying to prove herself. She's trying to
stick up for them. And trying to help them. And trying to stick up for them. And they're reading to them. I'm gonna go.
Do you agree with what we're saying too, that she doesn't stuff like you do? Yes.
So I think the reason why she keeps saying that I ain't a woman is because she's like is because that she like always get to do man stuff. Like she don't never get to do woman stuff. Like she want a chance to do like a woman stuff. Like to choose her own life.
So she said not fair
All conversations over, all eyes on me, and one. I walked around, I found some amazing collaborative conversations helping you all to understand this poem better. This speech better. Do you think you understand it better now that you talk to your peers? Yeah! All right. Let's see what you have to say. What do you think? Why do you think she keeps saying "ain't I a woman" over and over? Can you start off and can you start passing it around?
Alright. Why do she keep saying ain't I'm a woman? I think she is trying to tell I do stuff like a man, but I'm a woman.
What I think that she's trying to say is like, if she's a woman, she should have the same right like as a man, because like they don't leave a slave owner to like do something to them, like slap them or stuff like that. Like everybody should help. Like she said that she could eat like a man and do everything like a man. Yeah.
I think she keep repeating, and I'm a woman, because she's not being treated like one, and she's not helpless. She does everything that a man.
Yeah, it's a good one.
She's repeating, and I'm a woman because something like that. Helping her, like she's a woman, she's supposed to be like treated like the other one.
Oh, other women.
Women is plural. Yeah, you don't put an S at the end of women. It's women.
So I agree with all of them, and I'll build on to that. So today, what Arthur talked about is that she keeps saying, "Ain't I a woman?" Because she's trying to we talked about that she could do stuff what men do. Like for example, right here it said, I could work as much and eat as much as a man. So she's trying to say that she could do stuff that men could do. Armando?
She keeps repeating because she is a woman, and she thinks that she can say stuff like that. Anthony.
I agree with Mauricio, Natalie, Kia, and Diana, because I think she keeps saying, ain't I a woman, because she's trying to point out that women could do the same thing as men. So why should they have different rules instead of the same like rules as men?
I like what you had to say about that. I think you all have some really good ideas about this. Yeah?
Yeah.
I want to point out what we talked about in our group earlier was that, you know how we talked about what we wrote down a little bit ago about how the white men, their argument is that women don't need equal rights because they are too helpless, right?
Yes.
And she keeps pointing out about how she is clearly not helpless and that she is doing the same things like a man, like how you all figured out, right? And she keeps on saying that ain't I a woman. That's something, you know what that's called in speeches? It's a technique. It's called repetition. Say repetition.
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 Repetition calls your attention to something in more like detail. Okay? Did it work?
Yes.
Did it call your attention to the fact that she's pointing out, ain't I a woman too?
Yes.
Yeah. So that tactic, repetition, worked. And we use that when we write in argument, when we write speeches. And we'll be using that this year because guess what? We're going to be writing our own speeches. What are we going to write, Wayne? Our own speeches. Yes, we're going to be writing our own speeches. So we want to pay attention to what she's doing to help persuade us. Okay? She's using that repetition. I'm going to write that word repetition on the board. Repetition. When authors repeat certain words and phrases to give emphasis or for effect. So I really like the way that people are writing this down in their reading notebooks.
What's the word?
Repetition.
Isn't I a woman like kind of the main idea?
Yeah, you think it's the main idea, right?
Yeah.
Why do y'all think it's the main idea?
Because it's the title that's the main topic.
Okay. Title. Now,
Keep repeating it in the speech.
she keeps repeating it in the speech. Yeah. Doesn't that help us know when something is the big idea?
Yes.
Yes. The title, she keeps repeating it. She wants us to know, ain't I a woman?
Yeah.
You might treat me like I'm a man or make me work like a man, but ain't I a
Woman.
you don't treat me fairly. You know, but ain't I also a
woman.
So I should be treated fairly. Fairly. I should be treated fairly. I should be treated fairly like all the other women, and all the other women should be treated fairly like men, right?
Yes.
I should be treated fairly with women, with all women, and all the women should be treated fairly with men. Ain't I a woman? Okay, so we have that term repetition. That's the literary tool that she's using in this speech. What is Sojourner's purpose in writing and delivering this speech? Why is she writing and delivering this speech? What is her purpose? What's her purpose for this? Anthony?
Maybe like you said that she kept like on repeating ain't not a woman. Maybe it is she's trying to point it out that like how many people said that a woman could do the same thing as man. So if you shouldn't treat women like different than men. Should treat them equally.
The purpose that she's saying this is because like the slave owners, like since Sojourner Truth, but like since you've been like treating me like a man, like carrying carriages and stuff like that, like they were treating her like a man, but she a woman? That's the point.
So it's like they're treating her like a man, but they're not letting her get the benefits of being a man, right? They're making her do all the same things that men do, but they're not letting her get the benefits of being a man. All right, let's go ahead and wrap up. We did a great job today, didn't we?
Yes.
Do you guys feel like you understand the speech a little bit better now?
Yes.
Do you know what it means to interpret a text?
Yes.
Were you interpreting today?
Yes!
All right. So great job. Let's go ahead and do our end of class procedure.